Welcome back to the channel. Today we're reacting to a Myra McDaniel interview. But before we get started, I want you to consider checking out my second YouTube channel. The link is in the description box below. Now, if you don't know who Myra McDaniel is, she's the first Black Secretary of State of Texas. Help me get this video to 500 likes. And as always, don't forget to like, share, watch more videos, and subscribe to the channel.
Good morning and welcome to People-VUE. We're delighted to have in the first segment of our program the newly appointed Secretary of State for the state of Texas, Myra McDaniel. Welcome to People-VUE, Myra.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
How does it feel being in this new role?
Well, it's still pretty exciting. I haven't been there very long, so every day has been exceedingly busy and full.
Well, it appears that you did hit the ground running in that you have some priorities for that office. Would you care to elaborate on those?
We, at this time, are putting just a huge effort into voter registration. One of the duties of the Secretary of State is to administer the election code for the state of Texas. Until October the 7th, we're going to be pushing very hard to see that every possible person is indeed registered to vote. And then for the next month, we're going to put a big effort toward seeing to it that all those people are encouraged to get out and vote.
Do you have any preferences in terms of the way they vote? Or are you free to say so?
The Secretary of State's nonpartisan. I think that by and large, people tend to make choices which are right for them at the time. They don't necessarily always agree with me, but in the long run, I think that we have seen that the country has had balances and checks because we don't all agree all the time.
Tell me, Myra, what is the responsibility of the Secretary of State?
In addition to administering the election code, we also are in charge of all statutory filings for corporations, which means we get people incorporated and dissolved and merged and names changed. We're also in charge of filings for other people, public officials, for example, who have to make financial statements. Those are all filed in my office. We're the keeper of the seal. That's the official Texas seal, which is...
Let me know in the comments, did you know the Secretary of State have so many different duties? If you thought they did something different, let me know in the comments.
Used on all the governor's appointments, for example, and all official documents of the state, all bills passed by the legislature and signed by the governor. We, in addition, publish the Texas Register, which is where the people of the state can find all the rules and regulations of the agencies, which have so much control over many parts of our lives.
Do you also get involved with serving citations or papers on corporations and groups in litigation and that sort of thing?
No, in one sense we forward them to them. We don't consider that serving. We forward them to them, yes. We are the official place where you can serve a number of out-of-state corporations, for example, if they don't have an address. You can get service on them by serving the Secretary of State, and then we forward them to wherever we can last find them.
Would you care to elaborate on who was your mentor?
Unlike some people, I did not have a mentor. I had many, many people who over the years have provided guidance and comfort and succor.
Let me know in the comments, are you looking for mentorship? And if so, for what niche?
My family has been a great deal of support to me in everything that I've tried to do. There have just also been just many people over my entire lifetime. Some of them were important people. Some of them were people that, you know, even they felt they were having difficulty making their way through the world. But many of them were able to teach me things, for example, such as getting along with other people, which tends to become very important. I find that people who are not wealthy and well-educated have a great deal more insight into how to get along with people than perhaps people do who are more fortunate in their circumstance and upbringing. And I have gained a great deal from many, many people.
You find that they have a higher level of sensitivity towards the feelings of other persons?
When you say you're going to get along with somebody, I don't know whether you have a higher level of sensitivity. You certainly are able in many ways to determine how not to upset the world, and how to get your needs from other people. Because quite often you're talking about folks who are dependent on other people for survival. For any kind of thing that happens to them, they really have to depend on a number of other people. They know very well how to manage to make that happen, and happen in such a way that both parties have dignity.
Accepting such a large responsibility certainly must have had some impact on you. What about your family?
My family's just great. Bless their hearts. They love this whole thing. They think it's just wonderful and neat, and have been exceedingly helpful in terms of putting up with me as I go through these first few weeks, the last few weeks of my old job and the first few weeks of my new job. I guess I have been exceedingly busy and perhaps not as gracious as one might be under less trying circumstances. They also are the kind of support that you can give when you need something done. They'll just go do it for you.
And how many children do you have?
I have what I like to call 2 young adults. My children are 22 and 24. My daughter's married. I have 2 grandchildren who are very young indeed, but they're kind of delights to me.
And your husband is at the University of Texas, is he?
Yes, he's the Vera Jones Professor of Management at the University of Texas.
And do you have a son that's also a professor?
Now I have a son who's a graduate student at the university. He just started his graduate work this fall. And my daughter is finishing up her undergraduate degree. When you stop and have a family along the way, it slows you down a little bit. She's the oldest.
And now you started out in the field of English, I heard once. What helped you to make up your mind to go into law?
I was at a spot in my life which very few people ever have, and I recognized how lucky I was. I had done a number of things over the years. I had worked as a management analyst before I had children. I'd been home with children for a while. I'd done a couple things after that in the kind of administrative assistant roles. And I had a year when I didn't do anything, and I could do anything I wanted to. I could go to school, I could go to work, I could continue to stay around the house, assuming that the family would put up with that. My daughter told something I found delightful the other day. Someone asked her, did she miss her mother being at home when she was a teenager? And she said, well, having my mother is like having 2 or 3 mothers. She said, the one that takes care of you and sees that you're fed and dressed, we kept that one home. We sent the other one out to work.
Let me know in the comments if your mother's anything like that.
At any rate, I was at this point in my life where I really could do pretty much what I wanted to do, and decided that I just kind of determined what I thought I might enjoy and do well. And I looked at a number of different possible vocations and thought I'd like to try law. And sure enough, I love it.
That's great. And you've had some corporate experience prior to getting involved with this role as Secretary of State.
Yes, as an attorney, I was general counsel to a company in Midland. There was a group of companies all owned by the same family, and they had a variety of interests, but were mainly into oil and gas.
Was it necessary to commute from Austin to Midland? Or?
It surely was. I would fly out on Monday morning and back on Thursday night, and then on Friday I'd either work in the library or do something in their San Antonio office, so that I was home 4 nights a week and gone 3. And my husband always used to tease and say, we were the only people he knew with a hideaway apartment in Midland, Texas. He said, you hear about people in the Riviera, we have Midland.
Well, there's been a lot of stories written about this kind of relationship with husband and wife having to travel long distances and, well, commuting actually. It worked out in your case. Obviously, there weren't many problems associated with that kind of
There weren't for us. I don't know what it's like if you have small children at home, although I do have friends who have commuter marriages who have small children. It seems to be working for them. For any marriage to work, it's going to take a lot of commitment on the part of both people. It's certainly when you add to a marriage both people having careers, not just working, but actually having careers which make demands on them, even more care is going to have to be taken of that relationship to make it work. So part of what you have, I think, in some of those marriages is a great deal of effort on the part of the people to make the marriage work, because we're very much committed toward it.
That's beautiful. And of course, it helped that all of the kiddos were up and out.
It did help. As I say, I do have friends, and you read about people who have kiddos at home and seem to manage it quite well. So I think what it really did was mean the scheduling was a lot easier. When you only have 2 people to try to schedule instead of 4, life's a lot simpler.
I should say so. Now, earlier we got into a discussion regarding planning, establishing goals, deriving from where you started to where you are now. Would you elaborate on that? Did this relate to your particular situation? Was this in the scheme of things?
Actually, you really can't plan to be Secretary of State. it's one of the few roles you really can't plan to be. It's a combination of actually knowing someone who gets to be governor and of being the particular person at some time during their administration that the governor feels would be good in that particular role. So it's a combination of things that just doesn't happen real often for most people.
And Sylvia, I heard someone ask you if Barbara Jordan was a role model for you, and your response to that was real interesting, I thought. And would you care to elaborate again?
I'll share that with everyone. As it happens, I'm 3 years older than Barbara Jordan. Certainly when I was coming along as a little kid and she was coming along as a little kid, neither one of us were role models. She is just a fantastically wonderful woman who is worthy of being a role model for anyone. But
Tell me some of the people that you consider to be a role model, whether they're family, friends, or someone you don't know.
generally one's role models are a little older than oneself.
Tell me, how do you feel about opportunities now in management positions for women? Do you feel that they are opening up, or do you, is it fair for people to assume that your appointment was a token one, or is this a sign that there really are some changes being made?
I think this is a sign that there are some changes being made. No, my appointment's not a token one. I get to do everything every other Secretary of State has ever done. Across the country, there are currently about 400 women who are in executive level positions in state government. That means they're like Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, have cabinet level positions. In our state, we don't have cabinets, but we have similar positions. So it's not just something that's happening in Texas, it's something that's happening across the country. Mm-hmm. Yes, there are too many more women in management level positions in the private sector.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Would you care to tell us how many women have served in this capacity in Texas, or are you the first black and the first woman to serve in this role?
I'm the first black to serve as Secretary of State. I am either the third or fourth woman, depending on which constitution you're using. Under this constitution, I'm the third woman to serve, and the first in 50 years.
Ah, that's historical, wouldn't you say?
I say, yes, it is.
Tell me, what kind of opportunities, you're the Secretary of State, but what kind of activities are generated on a day-to-day basis with the governor and with your office? Obviously, you have a very close relationship. Does he establish your agenda from day to day, or what takes place?
Now, as Secretary of State, I have an agency that has 200 some odd people in it, and I have to establish that agenda and manage that office. Fortunately, I have some excellent staff who assists in that, because my life is so public that I cannot spend as much time at some of those things as I'd like to. The Secretary of State sets her own agenda. Certainly the Secretary of State and Governor always work together. I appear for the Governor if he can't appear somewhere, for example. And, from time to time we consult. And that's in both directions.
There are a lot of, call them honorary certificates given out. Is your office responsible for coordinating those honorary certificates? Should people write you if they are interested in having the yellow rose?
No, the governor is the one who appoints yellow roses. I get to sign somewhere on there, but I don't actually do that. The governor makes those appointments, and one should write to him if one's interested in getting that kind of appointment.
And tell me, where did you get your early education? Was it in Texas, or are you from another state?
I'm from Pennsylvania, and my early education was in Philadelphia through undergraduate school. I went to law school here in Texas.
So Texas did get to claim some of the credit.
Right.
You're
right.
a Longhorn?
I'm a Texas lawyer. I'm a Longhorn. A big fan of the women's basketball team. Up there all the time.
That's great. That's great. Is there any advice you would like to then share with those in our viewing audience in terms of what they should do to, well, get some success in this life?
I want you to answer the same question as well. Share some advice with people in the comments that you would recommend towards being a little bit more successful or accomplishing goals.
In their advocation profession, whatever.
I think there's several kinds of things that you have to do if you're talking about your vocation, for example. One of them is that you have to focus pretty well on what you're doing so that you gain some expertise in your chosen field. That's the first way you're going to be able to attract any attention, is by doing what you do just exceedingly well. Secondly, if you're going to move up in the world, somewhere you're going to need to get some management experience. You may have to learn your management through books. You may be able to take courses at night. You may use the library, but somewhere along the way you have to gain those skills, because at some point you're going to end up with someone saying, and now you're Secretary of State and you have an agency with 200 people in it. So, you're going to have to at that point be able to manage a budget and be able to discuss intelligibly how the office should be organized, know whether it needs to be changed or not, and know something about what one does with that many people.
Now, tell me, are all of your staff persons located in the capital city, or are they dispersed throughout the state?
No, they're all in Austin.
That's unique. Many of the state agencies have people all over, but yours are...
We work very closely with people in counties, county registrars and election administrators and so forth.
And where is your office building?
My own office is in the Capitol, and a small group of my staff is in the Capitol with me, and the major portion of the staff is in the Sam Houston building, which is right next to the Capitol.
That's great. Now, we certainly want to thank you for taking out taking out of your busy schedule a little time to be here with us this morning. And we don't want you to forget about us. We want you to come back. And as soon as we have this public service announcement, we're going to come back and ask you 2 other questions.
Very good.
Voting is a privilege.
And a responsibility.
But if you're not registered, you can't vote.
Too many times we forget the sacrifices that have been made to guarantee our freedom to vote.
We may even forget the struggles that have gone on to ensure that each of us has the right to vote, regardless of our color or sex.
For those who have fought so long and hard so that every American has the right to vote, please register today. It's a privilege much too valuable to waste.
Is there any particular preparation necessary for becoming Secretary of State? I think you elaborated on that earlier in the interview, Myra, but would you tell us about the criteria for this particular function? Is it purely political, or is it in the classified list of state employment?
Secretary of State is a constitutional office, You're appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. So in that sense, it's political, yes.
Did you have your confirmation?
No,
Already?
when legislature comes back in January,
That's the first thing on the
that's
agenda?
the first thing on the agenda. They will start confirming people, and hopefully they will confirm me.
You don't anticipate any difficulty along those lines, do you?
I don't anticipate any. One never knows with the legislature.
And you told us earlier that you grew up in Philadelphia, but at that time, I mean, were you a teacher in Philadelphia, or what kind of work did you do other than being a mother, wife, and that sort of thing?
Before we had children, I was a management analyst. We did studies of the workplace. You do systems procedure and analyze all the things that have to be done and streamline them, and then we did time studies on people so that we could tell you actually how fast you're supposed to work or how slowly, how much.
Okay, so if you have kids, tell me about your life before you had kids. What was your dreams, your goals, your accomplishments? What did you do for a living?
You could get done in a given amount of time and reorganize things based on the results of our studies.
And this was in Philadelphia?
This was in Philadelphia.
And then the big move to Texas?
No, went to Ohio, where I was still home with the children for a while, and then I went to work as administrative assistant to the vice president of academic affairs of Baldwin Wallace College. We moved to Indiana, and I was administrative assistant to the dean of this division of institutional systems technology, if I have it right.
Been so long.
At Indiana University. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Florida, where I took the year off. And then we came to Texas, and I started law school about a month after we got here.
And how long did it take you to complete law school?
I went through in 3 years. I took summers off.
Well, did you find that your background as an English major helped to facilitate your studies at the university in the field of law?
I think that it did. Certainly part of the study of law is semantics, and English majors do a great deal of that. English majors also spend a lot of time analyzing the written word, and so do lawyers. So in many ways, there are some similarities with kinds of skills.
And then all of the work as an analyst.
That certainly helped. Yeah.
That helped too.
That helped a bunch.
Well, what would you suggest to youngsters, for instance, in the viewing audience this morning, regarding preparing themselves to become lawyers?
Well, certainly communication skills are all important. An attorney is in a very difficult place if they cannot communicate so that other people do indeed understand them. That's part of that's just a big part of doing almost anything I've found. A lot of it, other than that, you really are taught in law school. So some kinds of things there's not much you can do about. We found that some people who had been in business school and done case studies found that made their life a little bit simpler. Certainly depending on what area of law you think you might be interested in, it'd be helpful to have some background. So if you're interested in corporate law, for example, and understanding the business world is helpful. If you're interested in being a counselor as an attorney, feel you want to work with families and their problems, a little sociology certainly is not going to hurt you.
Well, listen, it's been great talking with you, and we do want you to come back and visit with us again after you're all confirmed and what have you. We'll look forward to another visit, and thank you again for being with People-VUE this morning.
Thank you for having me.
During the concluding portion of our program, we're going to take a look at one of Austin's magazines.
I hope I can be honest with you. Before this interview, I had no idea who Myra McDaniel was. Matter of fact, I Googled who she was so I could know, or at the least have something about her to say before this video. And I'm happy I came across this interview because I learned a little bit more about the life of Myra McDaniel. And I also learned what a Secretary of State does. Let me know in the comments if you knew who Myra McDaniel was before this interview, and what did you learn from this interview? But as always, don't forget to like, share, watch more videos, and subscribe to the channel.